Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do something a little bit different than I normally do. Normally I try to come out every week with like an instructional video or something that you can implement today that just makes your gameplay better or whatever, and something that's really helpful. But today I kind of want to have a more in-depth conversation in terms of what I need to do next. So as you guys know, I played on my main for almost a year and a half. And so I got it to the point that I had finished all of my goals and everything was kind of completed and I was getting bored, right? So I started this account. This is Ironman RM. So this account has never had access to market. And finally we hit level 60. So there's 9 episodes or something at this point completed for the actual series. You can watch this from level 1 all the way to here, okay? But at this point, this is when things get really interesting and I don't actually know what to do. So level 60 expand is finished, and basically now there's not a ton to do. There's a couple hero slots that are going to happen at 64 and 68, and I guess 72 as well. There's like one more crafting slot at 65, one more quest slot at 70, but otherwise there's nothing major that's going to be happening. You know, I can get one more pet, or I can do like some upgrades, right? But there's nothing major that's going to change in terms of my gameplay. So basically my goal in this account is to get to level 75, right? I want to get this last expand, finish the donut, and do so with never ever having access to market ever, right? Like that's a crazy accomplishment. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's a personal goal of mine to try to see, is this possible? Okay. But here's the thing. I can't just buy items from market and sell them in my shop for XP. All of my XP has to be from items that I either craft myself or I get from quests or I buy from NPCs or something like that, right? So the question is, what is my bottleneck and how do we get to level 75 as quickly as possible? We've got 14 and a half levels to go, and I need to figure out what the most efficient thing to do is going to be to get me there as quickly as possible so that it doesn't take an entire year, right? Because it's going to be, 50 billion net worth or something, and it's going to take forever. So I would love to get a really awesome Polonia team that every 2 hours I can get 20 items, right? But I don't have gems to reroll skills really. So setting up a team for Polonia is going to be pretty difficult. And also I can't just buy a bunch of best in slot items from market that have health and have defense or whatever and reroll skills for evasion or whatever. So me getting like a ton of rounds is going to be really difficult as well. So we need to figure that out. The other thing is, what types of quests do I run? Do I run easy so that the rest times are shorter and I'm just getting more items? And I'm still getting components, obviously. And the other thing is, if I'm running more quests, then when you go to the quest screen, let's say to this, obviously Haunted Castle is going to be leveling up faster if I'm doing more quests rather than just running hards constantly. And I'll be able to get the quest time and rest time quicker, which means that obviously the later quests that I do down the road are going to be a lot quicker. So running hard as soon as possible might not be ideal, but I don't know. And I want to get people's feedback, as much input as I can, even data if you have it, so that we can make the best decisions possible. In my mind, I'm thinking I should be running easy constantly with as few heroes as possible to get tons of quests done, to have as many questing slots running, and then I'm getting free items and obviously components at the same time, right? The other thing I'm running into is that I'm actually getting components slower than I'm able to craft. If I craft consistently for a couple of days, I run out of all of my components and there's nothing that I can do. And as I'm selling things here, I'm not trying to surcharge everything anymore, just so you know. I'm going with 400 less energy than I did in my level 50s, but that's just because I want to just be able to rush crafts as much as I possibly can, start new crafts, and not have to worry as much about keeping up with energy and all that kind of stuff, right? It's just so much easier to do this. Just small talk, sell it normally, small talk, sell it normally, small talk, discount the little stuff, and use the energy to rush something else, right? It's easier, it's quicker, and I'm fine with it because gold isn't the issue, XP is the issue, and I'm not getting more XP from surcharging. Okay, so at this point, obviously I'm using fusion as much as I can to transfer chests into components. That's why I have hardly any chests left, because I've been transferring over all of my chests into components so I can keep crafting and using all of my chests as much as possible to get more components. But then of course I run out of moonstones. So what does that mean? That means that I'm crafting moonstones a lot. But then of course I run out of these components, and then I need to craft more or transfer more chests to get more eyes, to then get more moonstones, to then get more components from chests, etc. So it's this vicious cycle of just trying to get as much as I possibly can, as much stuff crafted to get XP. So here's my question. What do I need to do with my heroes? Potentially, I'm thinking I get rid of all my legendaries and all my epics. I only have flawless and below. Then I enchant all of them with at least tier 9 elements and good spirits so that I'm able to get, all of the upgrades from these, so that at least I'm getting like the best stats possible with the skills that I already have. And even if that means downgrading a legendary to something else, as long as I can get something half decent, then I'm happy with that. I'm actually okay with that. And even if I craft for a little bit and get like a green tier 9 that's fully enchanted, is going to be better than just a tier 7 with like, a small enchant on it type thing. So I think that's one of the first things. Next is, do I run easy quests all the time for the extra items, still getting components, and to upgrade the quest areas faster? And then after that, obviously I want as a personal goal to continue mastering items, master as many as possible. I've mastered everything tier 7 and below. But as I look forward, I want to master all the tier 8s, all the tier 9s. But at some point I have to decide, okay, now that everything's mastered, which items are the most XP per component, right? Because that's going to be another bottleneck. If something doesn't get me a huge amount of XP and I'm using a ton of components, then obviously I'm wasting there as well. So anything with a pre-craft that requires components is going to be out of the picture. Anything that's low XP per component, anything that takes 2 types of components most likely will not be in the picture. So I'm going to need to go through all the items in the game and try to choose the items that have the least number of components used, the least amount of pre-crafts, and a high amount of XP per component. So there's going to be a lot of calculations there as well. I'm not telling anyone that they need to do that for me, but it's definitely going to be a huge consideration as we go forward. Once we actually finish mastering a bunch of stuff, is saying, okay, now we need to figure out, okay, questing is kind of optimized. The heroes that I have are kind of optimized. Also, for the record, guys, I do have 6 dice that I can use to switch some skills if some are completely useless with the heroes that I have. I haven't looked through them in depth, but that's definitely a consideration as well, is that we can reroll some skills if, that might optimize a Polonia team or something like that to really help us out to get the perfect team that we need to be able to get, 20 items every 2 hours, because obviously that could potentially double, or half the time, or double the amount of items, half the time that this account's going to take if I could get like a crazy team. But obviously that may be very difficult to do. Or, when I do hit level 64 and I get a new hero slot for the 200 mil, there might be a specific type of hero that I need to get that's then going to optimize my Polonia team. That's going to help me out a ton. I don't really know if that's another dancer for the evasion or whatever. Obviously, I don't want to crit too much, but you know what I mean. There may be a certain type of hero that's going to help me to optimize that as well. So tons of considerations, tons of things I'm thinking about. I'm trying to, see what's my bottleneck here. And I'm realizing selling items is not a bottleneck. Crafting items is not a bottleneck. I can craft faster than I can get components. It's not a big deal. And because I have Moondra, I can transfer all of my chest to components. So it's basically needing to figure out heroes, figure out questing, figuring out all my optimal builds and how to do this thing so I can get the most components possible so that I can just optimize XP. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just wanted to share this. And I think the main reason I wanted to share this was, one, because obviously I'm thinking about it a lot. But the other thing is that when people see me playing this account, I think I would play this account a lot differently if I had market. Honestly, I would, because at level 60, I probably wouldn't have 3-2-3 out. I'd probably go with 2-1-3 or something like that. Have 2,400 energy instead of 1,600, and play things a lot differently than I am right now. Also, I wouldn't have been spending all my gems at the start. I would have saved 4K. I would have had this expand already, and probably would have had even more energy than that, and been buying items and flipping them, selling them in my shop for extra XP, extra gold, all that kind of stuff. So this isn't the way that I would normally recommend. This is the way that you should play a level 60 account. Like, honestly, I would play this a lot differently, but it's just because of the nature of the account and my goals that I'm playing it the way that it is. So I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you guys think. If you do feel like making some calculations or letting me know some information that you already know about the optimal way to quest or anything like that for items or for components or with certain heroes or whatever, please, I'd love all the help that I can get, and I'm excited to see how all this turns out. So anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate the input. I hope that this even may give you a little bit of insight into your account, into your gameplay, and just help you to see where I'm coming from and the things that are on my mind lately. So anyway, thanks for watching. Love you all. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and hopefully I'll see you on stream soon or in a video next week. So have a good one. Peace.